this works this time. Says it's starting. Okay, let's try this again. Says it's starting. Heather, I lost you. Hopefully you'll be able to find me again. Here at the church, we're in this metal building, and sometimes things work. Sometimes things don't work like we want them to. We're talking about characteristics of a disciple and what it means to invest in God's kingdom. When 3 Point began, we began as a Bible study on a back porch with 15, 20 people, and we wanted to study what it meant to go deeper into the scriptures. What was God trying to say? When I gave my life to Christ, one of the things that, I got baptized. That was the first thing. Gave my life to Jesus. And then baptism was this outward sign of this inward commitment. And it just let everybody know that I am now part of God's family. But then after that, I learned about the tithe. And I was thinking, like, what's this about? The government wants my money. Now the church wants my money. And as I began to study God's word, it became very clear to obey God meant that we invest in his kingdom. The tithe is an act of worship. It's giving back to God what's already given to us. We worship God with our singing. Every Sunday morning, we have praise and worship. We worship God when we spend time in his presence, whether it's in quiet time or in prayer. We spend time and worship God when we are studying his word and allowing his word to pour over us. And so the tithe is also an act of worship. A verse that's probably never used as far as giving is one of the verses that's most familiar to us. It's John 3:16. It says, "For God so loved the world that he gave. He gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believes would not perish, but have everlasting life." In other words, God gave his son. He didn't have 100 sons and he gave one and kept 99. He had one son and he gave that son for us. And God knew in giving Jesus to us, he wasn't giving him to us for adoption or just for us to like or for him to have a wife or anything like that. He gave him to die specifically. And God knew that there would be a reward on the backside, and that reward was our salvation, that we would be in God's family forever and we would have communion with him. Well, when we give back to God, God gave 100%. We give back to obey God 10%, just a small portion of what he's given to us. And there's a reward on the backside, though we don't seek it. God shows us that when we give, he takes that and multiplies that. We put our 10% into the local church, and the local church spends that out in missionaries or benevolences or pouring into the community so that the word of Christ is spread even more. And so when we invest in God's kingdom, we're saying, God, I'm obeying you and I am trusting you. And more than that, I am dependent on you. God gave 100%, we give him 10%. And I think a mark of the disciple that we need to obey is that of giving back to God what's already his in our time, our talents, our treasures, and our temple. I would love to hear from you. Let me know what you think and how I can pray for you. Heather, it's so good to see you. I'm glad you were able to find me again, and we'll try to get all this figured out for next time. Anyway, love you guys and have
Every morning I rise up strong, open the book that's never wrong, finding strength as I sing this song, in God's word where I belong. Pages turn in wisdom taught, guidance found from all I've sought, daily bread for every thought, in his light I'm never lost. Swole heart filling with love, grace raining from above, daily dive into the word, every line, a verse heard.